Okay, welcome to linear algebra class. In today's class, we are going to talk about neural network and deep learning. Neural network and deep learning. And please download LA18 codes.rar and extract it and open in the MATLAB. So we are going to use these codes to understand and run the neural network codes. So let's understand the basic concepts behind the neural network. Neural network, they derive the concepts from the networks in brain or neuron in brain. And the idea is that they have a multi-layer structure, And now, why is this sudden explosion in this area of research? And if you look at the neural networks, and nowadays you have multi-layer convoluted neural network, which are also called as deep neural network. Networks. This deep neural network is the basic catalyst for deep neural network is availability of computational power. So computational power or computers, they have become cheap. And not only that, they have become very powerful. The second thing is availability of data sets. So right now we have enormous amount of data, and that data is not just unlabeled data, but it's a labeled data. So we have huge data that is available, and that's why there is this sudden influx in the area of deep learning, data analysis, and data science. Neural networks have been in the academic field for last 30, 40 years. But nowadays, they have started finding applications in our day-to-day life. So for an example, looking at iPhone or apps or iPad or different computer algorithms, websites, Google, Facebook, all these websites or computer software, they are using neural network. Now, please understand the machine learning is based on looking at the data set using classification or coming up with some sort of universal function approximator. So neural nets, they are nothing but universal function approximator. So you can think about a most generalized regression technique that could depend upon lots and lots of inputs. And also it will have lots and lots of knobs to tune. And they are very closely related with the principal component analysis that we studied. But because of the recent innovations in the field of neural network, like pre-training, and we'll talk about what these mean. There is pre-training, there are techniques for dropouts, then inception modules, then data augmentation, batch normalization, and residual learning. These techniques have made neural network immensely popular and powerful. So these are different algorithms that are used to improve the neural network. Now, let me specify what neural network is all about. Neural network is based on essentially optimization. So here is the basic idea behind neural network. So neural network can be defined as determination of a universal approximator, which are something like argmin, AJ, FM, which is dependent on various matrix weights, and so on, with some sort of penalty function or some sort of regularizing function. So the idea is we have to find out a solution to this optimization problem. And what is this optimization problem? These are cascading functions. So essentially, this is a nonlinear regression problem. But please understand, we are adding this regularization parameter because we are interested in sparse solutions, the solutions which could be close to zero. Now understand that this optimization problem solution is not a trivial task. So for that, to solve this, we use numerical techniques. And the numerical techniques that we have studied to solve optimization problem is like the gradient descent, but we are going to use a slight variation of gradient descent, which is called as the stochastic gradient descent. Or it is also called as SGD, which is nothing but random stochastic or stochastic, that's what it means, gradient descent. So we use random or stochastic gradient descent. And in addition to that, we use something called as the back propagation. And all these techniques, the only fundamental reason to apply these techniques is to find this universal function approximator. I want to find out this nonlinear function that is able to help me classify the data. So let's take an example of a very simple one-layer neural network. So what is a neural network? So let's talk about one-layer neural network. So if you think about the one-layer neural network, the fundamental function or the goal of this neural network is to map set of inputs to set of outputs. So this is the fundamental function of the neural network. So for an example, if x of j is your input data and y of j are the labels. So these labels could be classification like cat and dogs or standing versus sitting, some sort of label data. Then the idea is we want to find out this labeling, and this labeling would be in form of some layered functions. So for an example, you would have some input. That input will get mapped to some, so this is the input. So this is input. And you will find out that some regression, some combination of this input to some network, which is in here. Then you would have additional layers which would get mapped. So for an example, and don't worry about the structure. We will talk about the structure in just a second. The idea is these links, they are defined by some sort of constant and some sort of scaling. The idea is at the end, these layers, starting with input, you should be able to get outputs. And each connection is identified by something like a scale factor and a bias and some sort of nonlinear activation function. And we will talk about it in just a second. So for an example, what I want to tell you here is, let's try to understand this by meaning of the concept from linear algebra. So I have x of j's. A is the matrix. So I want you to think about what happens at this point. At this point, I have A1 multiplied by xj. What happens at this point? At this point, I have A2 multiplied by A1 xj. And what happens finally is I have A3, A2, A1 xj. And my hope is that this is gonna give me yj. So please understand A3, A2, and A1 are the matrix of weights. In other words, nothing but the numbers that multiply the previous input. So that is how the basic structure is all about. And this is nothing but a super simple linear network. Now here is the question. Now A3 is a matrix with bunch of unknowns. A2 is a matrix with bunch of unknowns. And A1 is a matrix with bunch of unknowns. The only thing that we know here is X and somehow we need to find y. So in other words, I have to find out all these unknowns. And this is a massive underdetermined problem, which means number of variables, these weights are significantly more than number of equations. So for an example, I just have this relationship between x and y, but I do not know what type of relationship is. So I'm going to assume this relationship in the form of some matrix A1, some matrix A2, some matrix A3, and all these matrices have unknown elements. Somehow I need to find these unknown elements. This is just a simple linear neural network. Now, what happens in the case of a nonlinear neural network? So what happens in the case of nonlinear neural network is these layers, they become nonlinear. So what it means is your x1 will be a nonlinear function of some matrix weights and previous input. Your x2, so I'm going to call this x1, you're going to call x2. x2 is going to be some function a1, a2, x1. So this is the linear neural network. And if I were to represent this as something like in this equation becomes a nonlinear neural network. And the idea is, how do we solve this nonlinear regression problem using the numerical techniques that we have studied so far? And why do we need to go with the nonlinear functions? The reason for nonlinear functions is the applicability of a linear function is limited. Things in the practical life, they are not linear. They don't map one-to-one. So there is some nonlinearity that we need to account for, and that's why we need to account for the nonlinear neural network. So now what I want to do is, before we work out complex problem, let's work out a very simple neural network problem inside MATLAB. So here is the problem that I want to solve. Remember, we have a data set for dog and we have data set for cat. And what we want to do is, we want to perform classification on this dog and cat data set. So what I'm going to say is, I'm going to create a label. I'm going to say all dogs are denoted as +1. All cats are denoted as -1. So this is what is called as labeling. And this is a binary problem. Either we have a cat or we have a dog. So how do we decide if it's a cat or if it's a dog? If my output is +1, then it's a dog. If my output is -1, then that's the cat. So let's see how would we solve this problem when we have some sort of linear mapping. So if you decide to think about a linear mapping, this would look like this. So you have this input, and all this input finally would give you an output, and this output could be +1 or this output would be -1. And now the question at this point is, what is this input? And this input is nothing but the vectorized image. What that means is, remember, you have an image of a dog. And then what we do is, we take each column and we place this column in some sort of a vector form. And this vector gets fed as an input. Similarly, we will do something similar to the cat. So you will have a cat And then again, we will take each column and vectorize it. So we will have cat. So this guy is dog and this guy is cat. So these are the two vectors. And what we are going to do is we are going to feed this data to this linear problem. And let me set up the linear problem in terms of the matrix mathematics. So this problem is something like this. I have A1, A2, these are the unknown weights, okay? A3, AN, these are the weights we need to find out to be determined. This is the vector data of dogs and cats. So this is the first vector. This is the first image, X1. This is the second image, X2. This is the third image, X3. So let's assume that these are the images for dog. And these are the images for cat. So we have dog and we have cat. And these are unknowns. And we know at the end what we should get. Since the first three images are dog, I should be getting 1, 1, 1. Since the last three images are cat, I should be getting -1, -1, -1. So this is because it's a dog. This is because it's a cat. So this is a very simple single layer binary classification neural network. So let me write this down. Simple one layer linear binary classification neural network. Everyone understood the problem that we are going to solve? Any questions here? So what we want to do is we want to come up with a simple neural network. And this neural network is a linear neural network. And the objective of this linear neural network is if I were to feed an unknown image, based on the data set that I have, I should be able to get output at +1 or -1. Everyone understood this? So the objective is I solve this equation, get the values of A1, A2, A3, and AN with the hope that as soon as I feed this X new, I should be able to get either 1 or -1. That is the hope. And clearly, accurately, +1 or -1, it may not be possible, but I want a number which is close to 1 or close to -1. That kind of help me classify this new image. Everyone understood this? So image is actually a matrix. And what I did, I vectorized the matrix. So basically I took all the columns of the matrix and stacked them on top of each other. And I arranged them so that I have the labeled data properly arranged. And then I want to solve this problem. And believe it or not, we have solved this problem. This problem in the matrix multiplication can be written as A, X is equal to Y, where X is a rectangular matrix, M times N. This Y is one row, M columns. And then A is nothing but the coefficients that we have to find out. And the way we solve this is using either the pseudo inverse. So we can use the pseudo inverse where A is equal to Y, X. This is the pseudo inverse. or we use sparse regression or lasso, or some other numerical technique that will give me reasonably good values of A. And A is nothing but this guy. Everyone understood the problem that we are trying to solve here? So can I switch my screen to MATLAB and then show you how to solve this problem? So if you have understood, then what I want you to do is I want you to go to MATLAB, open the script, go to the MATLAB, and then let's run the first code. So I'm gonna share my screen. Yes, we can solve it, but let me first share my screen and we can start step by step. So I'm gonna share my MATLAB screen. Can you see my MATLAB screen? Okay. Now this is the code for today's lecture, which is lecture 18. And I want to talk about this simple linear neural network. Now for this simple neural network, I would just run this code, just make sure that is in the path. And then once you add that to path, notice you would have the dog data and cat data inside the MATLAB prompt. So now you have the cat data, you have the dog data, you have their MATLAB files, and so on. So let me look at the first linear neural network, line number 3. I'm clearing all the variables, line number 4. And I can actually load either the raw cat data or raw dog data, or I can actually find out the wavelet data. That doesn't matter. You can run this neural network on any code, any data set that you have. So what I'm going to do is, first, I'm going to create a training data set. Now, please understand, we have 80 images of dog and we have 80 images of cat. It's always a good idea to separate the data into training data and validation data, just to make sure that we are able to get good classification. So what I have done is I have split the data into 2 parts. First 60 images for the dog and for the cat, they are my training data. So I'm gonna create a simple 1-layer neural network on the training data. And then I'm going to test that neural network on the second part of the data, which are the next 20 images of dog and next 20 images of cat. Now I need to provide a label. So can you see, first I'm creating the label 1. So these are all ones. 60 rows, 1 column. So that is nothing but the label 1, that is for the dog, and the label -1 is for the cat. Everyone understood this? And now next part is super simple. So I have this label, I'm solving AX is equal to Y equation using the P inverse. So this is the pseudo inverse. And now what I want you to do is, I'm testing this with the data set that is test. So please note this line 11, line number 11, I'm I'm finding out the coefficients A. In other words, I'm training the neural network. And in the second part, I am testing the neural network. And then what I'm doing here is I'm looking how good my neural network is. So what we are going to do is we are going to actually, so we are going to highlight this code. We are going to highlight this code. And I want you to basically run this code, evaluate this code. So yes, that is the P inverse. So then you will get figure 1 and you will get figure 2. Are you with me so far? You will get figure 1. Yes, A is linear. Figure 1 and figure 2. Now I want you to understand what happened in figure 1 and figure 2. So in figure 1, please note, it is showing me how the data got classified. How is this data classified? So let me share that figure with you. So once you look at the figure, you will notice you have the labels +1 and -1. So this is showing me how that data is classified. And clearly the first, so let me pose this problem. Everyone understood that we solved the problem and we got the value of A. And then I took that value of A and multiply that with the test data. And this is the result of that test. And I want you to observe that even though the first 20 images are for the dog, so what I should see is if my regression or if my analysis is correct, I should get +1 for the first 20 images. So let me share my screen. So if you look at, can you see that this is showing me the result of my neural network? I want you to look at, this is the test data. So the test data is I have 40 images. Out of those, first 20 images are dog images and next 20 images are cat images. I see that I get some classification. So for an example, I see that the first image is dog, second image is dog. But even though the third image is dog, it got classified as cat. The fourth image is dog, it got clearly classified. Fifth image is dog, it got clearly classified. But the next image, which is number 6th image, even though it's dog, it got classified as cat. So same thing happened on the 20th image. So 20th image is for cat, that is actually classified correctly. 21st image is cat, got classified correctly. However, 25th image, even though it's a cat image, 26th image, even though it's a cat image, it got classified as dog. Everyone understood this? So there is this misclassification. Are you with me so far? Everyone understood that the dog images, some dog images got classified as cat images, some cat images got classified as dog images. And this is nothing great. This is just a simple least square solution that we looked at. We used the pseudo inverse and we found the answer. Now, next part is I want to use lasso, which is I'm going to add a constraint on the solution and I'm going to use the lasso. So can you see that next part is I'm trying to solve the same equation using lasso. Can you see this lasso here? So this is solving an optimization problem with some sort of regularization function. Some optimization problem using the regularization function. And when you run this, what I want you to do is, you will notice that your figure 1 will get changed. And what happens now? Now you will notice the results are slightly different. So now if I were to solve the same optimization problem, finding out the values of A, instead of using the pseudo inverse, if I were to use lasso, which is the sparse regression, then I get some classification, but that's also not good. Because again, to make sure, and this is something super important, please note the lambda value, which is the regularization parameter, is 0.1. So you can tune or tweak this parameter and you would notice your results would change. So I would encourage you at this point to change this value of lambda from 0.1 to 0.05, 0.5, and see that your optimization solution will be different. In other words, your classification would be different. Everyone understood this? So this is a very simple linear neural network. Everyone understood this? No, we are not at the learning rate. Right now, lambda is nothing but the value multiplying the optimization. If you look at the notes that I talked about, first I derived the optimization function, which is argmin aj, and then you are adding lambda times g times aj. So that lambda is the regularization parameter. We are not at the learning rate yet. We are not into stochastic gradient descent or any gradient descent. No learning rate at this point. It's just solving the linear equation using two techniques. One is pseudo inverse and the second one is lasso. Remember we talked about lasso, wherein you have a regularization parameter and you get sparse coefficients. Any questions at this point? Everyone got the results for cat and dog classification? Looking at the chat window, everyone got? Okay. So everyone understood? Yes, correct. Clearly that linear regression is not good. And that is the inherent limitation of the linearity assumption. Everyone understood this? Now let's proceed further and try to solve the problem when the regression or the neural network is non-linear. And please understand, writing a neural network code for non-linear neural network is not a trivial task. So we are going to use the built-in MATLAB function, a deep learning neural network function, to solve the neural network problem. So please understand, I want you to look at line 26, which is you're clearing everything, then you're loading the cat data and dog data. Again, you're doing the same thing. You are appending cat data and dog data. You are constructing the training data and you are constructing the testing data. Can you see that you have a training data and you have a testing data? Now, however, the way we run MATLAB neural network toolbox, which is called PatternNet, needs labels in the form of the training and testing. So can you see that 1, 0s, 0s, 1s? Can you see that this is how this data is clustered? And the command to run the neural network is PatternNet. We are going to design a 2 neural network and we are going to use a training using stochastic gradient descent, and then we will do a transfer function. And this is where the training is done. So what I want you to do is, I want you to highlight the code from line number 26 all the way to line number 50 and evaluate the section. And once you evaluate, what's going to happen is you will see that MATLAB neural network toolbox will come in the picture, and all of a sudden you will see some prompts. So I will share with you. Can you see the results from the classification? Dogs are classified as dogs. Cats are classified as cats. And then I want you to look at the way this neural network is shared. So you have a hidden input layer, then you have a hidden network layer, then you have an output layer, and then finally you have an output. At this point, what I want you to look at is, you have tons of information here. So it shows you epoch, that means a complete iteration that runs through the labeling, amount of time it spent, the performance, actually the value of the gradient, validation checks, and you can generate the plot. You can click on the performance plot. And if you click on the performance plot, it will show you how the data looks. You can look at the training plot, and it will show you that as you train the neural network, after 60 iterations, the neural network converges. You can look at the error histogram. It will show you how bad is the error between the training data set and the validation data set. Then it will show you the confusion matrix. Confusion matrix kind of tells you the false positives and false negatives. So for an example, it will show you that how the classes are classified. So what should be the ideal class? Or so for example, if dog image got classified as dog, or if dog image got classified as cat. Everyone kind of understood this? And I want to share this with you just to kind of give you an idea of what is happening. Everyone got this confusion matrix? Now, what does this confusion matrix tell you? Please understand, in your data set, you have a training data set and you have the validation data set. Remember the first slices of the data, you have the training data set and validation data set. And then you have the test data set. So what this is telling me is class 1. So let's start with the first discussion. So in the training data set, I had 28 dog pictures, 28 cat pictures. So you can see that they got classified correctly. 50% got classified with 1, 2 got classified with 2. So that's all great. There is no cross, which means dog didn't get classified as cat and cat didn't get classified as dogs. Same thing happened with the validation data set. So label 1 got classified as 1, label 2 got classified as 2. Can you see 66% of the data was in label 1 that got classified as label 1. 33% of the data was classified as label 2 that got classified as label 2. Something similar happened in test. And then overall, all confusion matrix, you will see I had 50% of dog images and 50% of cat images, and those got classified appropriately. Everyone understood the interpretation of the confusion matrix? Any questions here? So I want you to look at the MATLAB code. and then observe that with that MATLAB code, you should be able to see the data. So can you see that this training is on this guy? And what you want to do is you want to check the performance on this guy, net and label. So we have a very decent classifier using nonlinear technique. Okay, now how it's all done. So under the hood, what happens is you are trying to solve two problems. You are trying to solve two problems. So you are trying to solve a nonlinear regression problem using some sort of numerical technique. And this nonlinear regression technique is nothing but can be classified as determination of activation function. So we are actually trying to find out something called as activation function. And this activation function is basically a nonlinear function which is going to give me some sort of a map with some inputs and some weights. This activation function could be a linear function. This activation function could be a binary step. So it could be zeros and ones. If x is less than or equal to 0, if x is greater than 0, so you could have a binary step. Another famous activation function is logistic function. And these are all nonlinear functions. Or you can have an activation function, which is something called as a rectified linear unit. And nowadays, this function is very commonly used. So the function is, you have the value of x, and if the value of x is less than 0, the function is 0. If the value of x is greater than 0, then that's a linear function. So there are many activation functions that can be used to find out the neural network. So quickly, I want you to take a look at the code. Notice pattern-net command is actually a neural network classification building command. So that actually builds the network inside the MATLAB. Then train SCG is the training method, which is called as the scaled conjugate gradient backpropagation. Train SCG is the scaled conjugate gradient backpropagation. And the net.layer allows us to find or determine the transfer function. And we are using, in this case, the hyperbolic tangent function. So a transig, as you can see, it's a hyperbolic tangent function. And viewNet. So basically the viewNet allows us to view the neural network. Now, please understand, this MATLAB algorithm automatically breaks the data into three parts. It breaks the data into the training set, it breaks the data into validation set, and it breaks the data into test set. And it automatically performs the training, performs the validation, and performs the testing. So once again, I want you to take a look at the code. And the most important commands in this code are pattern net, This is a MATLAB command. Then train SCG, and then net.layer, and the last command is view net. So these are all the important commands that are used to train the nonlinear neural network inside MATLAB. Any questions here? Any questions here? Now, what I want to tell you is a little bit discussion on the code. So please watch the code. So what you have is you start with an initial guess, and then you try to find out if that guess is giving you a good result or not. And if that guess is not going to give us good result, then we tune, or we actually do fancy trial and error. But how do we change the guess values? And clearly that guess is dependent on how good or bad the solution is. In other words, how accurate the result is compared to the ideal result. And this tuning is nothing but called as back propagation. So essentially we start with some weights, and then what we do is basically we change those weights using something called as the back propagation. So what I want to tell you here is, at this point, let's try to understand the problem that we are trying to solve mathematically. So we have a known label. So we have a known label y. It could be +1 or -1. And I have some input. So I have two functions. One is a function g, and another is the function f. So what I have is, this is the innermost function or the innermost layer. So innermost function. And A are the weights or the coefficients for this function, and X is the input. So this guy is the input. And this result is fed into another function. So if you think about it, you have X that gets fed into F, and this F, the output, gets fed into G, and this G gives me Y. Now the idea is, I want to find out what are the optimal values of A, what are the optimal values of B. So F has some coefficients A and G has some coefficients B. So how do I find out what are the accurate or optimal values of A and B? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start with some random values, random A and random B. Clearly, when I feed the X to this random A and random B, I'm not going to get Y. I'm going to get some other result, Y0. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to find out the error. Error, you can define error as the second order error. So I can say this error or error norm is the difference between Y0, Y square. So this is my error. And I want to see how is this error changing if I were to change the values of A and change the values of B. And clearly, there are lots of A's and lots of B's. So I have to repeat this process multiple times to find out the best possible value of A. But what I can do is, I can actually be a little bit smart. And what I would do is, I will try to find out the gradient of error. What do I mean by gradient of error? I want to find out what would the error be if I were to tweak this value of A in a positive direction or value of A in a negative direction. So in other words, think about something like this. This error depends upon two parameters. Error depends upon A and error depends upon B. Now I want to see how does this error change? How does this error change if I change A by a little bit, or if I change A or B a little bit? In other words, if you think about it, this is sort of a derivative problem. I'm interested in finding what is the change in error if I have change in A and I have change in B. So this is sort of determination of derivative. And if I were to write this equation using the chain rule, this equation will get written something like this. D by dz multiplied by dz dA. And this is, I'm going to call this z. So this guy, for the sake of simplicity, this guy. So in other words, what I'm doing is I'm trying to find out, I'm using the chain rule to perform something called as sensitivity analysis. So I want to find out if my error, change in error, is sensitive, how much it depends upon A. And clearly, there are multiple A's. So I would have to perform some sort of iterative scheme. So the next value of A is going to be the previous value of A plus, this is where some small value of delta comes in the picture. And this is the learning rate. So this is the learning rate. So what it simply means, you have this error function and you have A. So you want to find out in what direction I should travel, so that I have the minima. So what is the optimal value of A? And believe it or not, this is nothing but the gradient descent. This is what we did. So this is delta is the learning rate. In other words, how much I should change the value of A. So for example, if my initial value of A is a 0.5, should I make it 0.45 or should I make it 0.55? And this depends upon this gradient and the learning rate. And believe it or not, I do this for all A's. And I do this again for the partial E with respect to partial B. I do that for B's. So this fancy trial and error is carried out depending upon where the slope is maximum. And that is how at the end you will find out the optimal values of A and the optimal values of B. Everyone understood this? And believe it or not, it may look simple, but you can't do it for a large neural network. That's why we have to use some sort of computer algorithm. And let me take a simple example, an explicit example, and show you how this works. So think about that we have a simple neural network. So I have an input layer, I have the hidden layer, and I have an output layer. And I have a function f of x comma a that takes me from input to hidden, and I have another function g of b that takes me from hidden layer to output layer. So there are two functions. So my output y is going to be function of a function. Initially, I would be operating on function f, and then I would be operating. So this is the inner function. This is the inner function. And this guy is the outer function. Now, what I want to do is, I want to write this something like a simple example. My z is a multiplied by x. X is my input, a is to be determined. And my y is my b of z. Again, b is to be determined. Everyone understood this? So my y is a single layer. So there are only two unknowns. A is a scalar and b is a scalar. A is a number, say 0.5, b is a number, say 0.7. And it could be something, some different values. So y is going to be a multiplied by b multiplied by x. And what I want to do is, I want to find out values of a and value of b. So what I would do is, I can explicitly find out delta E with respect to delta A as the error y0 minus y dy by dz and dz by dA, which gives me minus y0 y b times x. And I will explain to you in just a second what this means. Delta E with delta B is minus y0 minus y delta y by delta B, and that gives me minus y0 minus y a times x. So what does that mean? So initially, I want to find out the values of A and values of B. But for some non-zero values of A and B, for some non-zero values of A and B, I got y0 as the solution. Y0 I got for some non-zero values of A and B. Clearly, that is not the ideal solution that I'm looking at. My actual answer is y. But when I tried some random A and B, I got y0. So what I did, I used this error equation. So I used this error equation, and I found out the error between the actual and the result that I obtained. So this is the error. And then with this, I found out the sensitivity or rate of change or change of error with respect to these weights, A and B. And I realized that I have the gradient over here, that is the gradient for A, and I got the gradient for B. So what this means is I can use this gradient information. I can use this gradient information to change the values of A. Now let me give an example. Say, and I want you to think about it carefully. So I got an error, and now that error is largely dependent on B. That error is largely dependent on B. What that tells me, that gradient with respect to A is more. If that error is largely dependent on B, so I get this gradient. So this is the gradient. And this gradient shows me the sensitivity with respect to the change in A or change in B. And then what I can do is I can use this information to update the values of A and values of B. So what I can do is I can update the new A. So A new is equal to A old plus some delta multiplied by partial E with partial A. So I can use this gradient to find this. I can find B new as B old plus delta E delta B. So with this, I would iteratively find out the values of A new and A old so that the value of A and value of B converges. Everyone understood this? So what I want to tell you is look at this simple neural network. You have one input layer, one hidden layer, and one output layer. And the relationship is simple linear. So if you have a linear relationship, you can find out the change in the output with respect to change in the coefficients A or change in the coefficients B. So you can find out the gradient with respect to A and gradient with respect to B. And finally, tune the values so that your actual result closely matches with your ideal results. Everyone understood this? Any questions here? And please understand, this process can be done by hand for a simple model. But as the model complexity increases, even for two-layer network, you cannot perform this calculation by hand and you have to use some sort of computer software. And that is where we use MATLAB. And please note this gradient descent is also not simple to implement. So what we have to do is we have to go with some sort of a random or stochastic gradient descent to perform the calculations. And we'll talk about stochastic gradient descent in next class. So I'm going to stop here and answer any questions you may have.